everyone. Thank you for joining us for this Mapping Geographic Data in Tableau workshop. In this workshop, we will talk about some of Tableau's mapping features. On this Tableau's help page, you will see the types of maps that Tableau can create. We will cover symbol maps, field maps in our workshop. Point distribution maps and heat maps are variations of symbol maps. So once you learn how to create symbol maps, these two map types are not hard to understand. The last two, flow maps and spatter maps, are kind of maps that show line or curve data we are not going to cover in this workshop. In addition to the field maps and the symbol maps we are going to cover in this workshop, we are also going to talk about layered maps. Layered maps is a very new feature of Tableau. In order to use it, you need to have the latest version of Tableau installed. That is 2021.4 that was released in December 2021. So specifically, in the first part of the workshop, we are going to use sample superstore data. We are going to create a symbol map and a field map and combine the symbol map and the field map we created. We are going to create a dual axis map. In addition, we are going to talk about how to edit unknown locations if Tableau cannot recognize some of location names in your data. In the second part of the workshop, we are going to talk about layered maps. We are going to see how to connect geospatial data files like shape files and how to create layered maps. And in this layered map, you can turn on or turn off layers as you desire. This layered map is built using a symbol map and field map that we learned in the first part of the workshop. You can download the workshop data file by going to the DMC homepage, dmc.rice.edu, and go to DMC Guides under Asking for Help. Then scroll down to the bottom of the page. You will see the link to the workshop data files. Open Tableau Public. Connect to Sample Superstore Excel file. Drag Orders sheet to the canvas area. Click on Sheet 1. In order to plot a point on a map, we will need to have a latitude and longitude coordinate. For the data set, like sample superstore data, if we take a close look at the data included in this data set, from left to right, we will notice we don't have any latitude and longitude coordinates data. For the data set that doesn't have latitude and longitude coordinates, such as this sample superstore data set, Tableau's powerful internal database can recognize common geographic information tags like city, country, postal code, and state. Then it automatically assigns coordinates to those places. This process is called geocoding. In Tableau, all geocoded fields will have a globe icon associated with it. Take an example of the state field. When the data is connected, Tableau automatically assigns a data type, that is a string, over here. It also recognizes state as a dimension field. Meanwhile, it assigns a geographic role to the state field. We see state province geographic role is assigned to the state field. You will also see latitude and longitude in the measures group. They are italic. That means they are generated by Tableau. They're not from your original data source. They contain the coordinates data for all geocoded fields. Now we will see how to make a symbol map. Double-click on state. We see two things happen. First, state is put on detail on the marks card. Second, latitude and longitude are put on the rows and columns shelf. Right-click over the view area, click on View Data. We see for each location in the state field, a coordinate has been assigned. Since each location in the state has a coordinate assigned, that's why when we double-click on state, Tableau knows where to plot those locations. Now, if we want to know which state had the most sales and profit, drag sales to size. We see the size of the circle instantly changes, and it is in proportion of the sales amount. The bigger the circle size, the larger the sales amount. Drag a profit to color. Click on color. Click on edit colors. From automatic, I want to change it to red, blue, diverging. I will change it to stepped color 2. Red indicates the states that lost profit. Blue indicates the states that made profit. Click OK. Click on color again and go to border. Click on black. And for halo, go to none. This will make the circle stand out more on the gray background. So now we see the size of the circle represents the sales amount, while the color of the circle represents the state's profit status. Next, we will see how to adjust the background map settings. From Tableau Public Map menu, go to Map Layers. It opens on top of the data pane. From top to bottom, we can adjust different settings. For background style, you can try different style like normal, dark, and I will switch it back to light mode. For wash out, you can change it to different settings. For map layers, you can turn on or turn it off, and you will see the difference. So some of the map layers are grayed out. That's because the map is not zoomed in enough. Say, if I search for Texas, now we zoom into a state level. You see this street, highway, and routes. This map layer is available to turn on. And you can see the streets, highways, and routes. If I zoom out, once again, this map layer is grayed out. So it's grayed out just because the map is not zoomed in enough. We can turn on map layers. We can turn off map layers. if we turn off all map layers, we see this symbol map is just a bunch of circles, a bunch of points. It looks more like a scatter plot. In Tableau, the latitude is essentially your y-axis value, and the longitude is your x-axis value. So when creating a map, we are basically creating a scatter plot. Map is the background. This is how Tableau plots the geographic coordinates. Simple maps in Tableau can be thought of as scatter plots, but the background images of map helps you orient yourself almost instantly with the different geographic territories being displayed. So we will turn on some background layers. At the bottom, you can turn on some data layer, depends on your need. Say for US population, you can turn it on and then you can turn it off. I will rename this sheet as symbol map. While a symbol map draws a symbol at the intersection of each latitude and longitude pair, field maps draw a polygon around the entire border based on the more data point in the Tableau internal geodatabase server or the connected spatial data file. So let's create a field map. Click to create a new worksheet. We want to create a field map to show the US regions. Notice the region field is not a geo field, so we cannot use region to create a field map to show the US regions directly. But also notice there's a hierarchical relationship between region and state, so we can use state to create a map first. So by default, a symbol map is created. We can change it to a field map from Show Me menu and click on Map. Or back to the symbol map, you can go to the Marks drop-down menu from the Automatic, change it to Map. I will close the Show Me menu. Then you can drag region to color, and now we have a field map to show the US regions. If we go to map layers and turn off all the background map layers, we see polygons. So when all the background map layers are turned off, a symbol map plus points. In contrast, a field map plus polygons. Or turn some background map layers on. We'll close map layers settings. While for a symbol map, we can use size and color to visualize two fields. Like in this case, we use color to visualize profit, use size to visualize sales. In contrast, field maps use color to visualize one field. In this case, we use color visualize US region. Next, we will see how to edit unknown or ambiguous locations. Create a new worksheet. Say we want to show which city had the most sales and profit. Double-click on city. Tableau generates a map. However, at the lower right corner, you will see 353 unknown. This happens because some city names are ambiguous and could exist in multiple states. When this happens, you can add additional information to the view to define locations. In this case, you can add state to detail on the marks card. Instantly, you will see all the unknown locations, unknown city names have become known city names. Or you can remove state and edit the unknown city names to map to known locations. Click on the unknown button and go to edit locations. You can do one-on-one matching, or if you know a high-level information, in this case, state, we can choose from field state, and immediately all the unknown city names have been resolved. And click OK, and we don't have any unknown city names anymore. I also want to point out in Tableau, field maps are not available for city and airport. So for this symbol map, if I change the mark type to map, you don't see a field map. It's still a symbol map, just because Tableau's internal geodatabase does not provide field map information. For cities and airport, you can only create symbol maps based on Tableau's internal geodatabase server. Next, we will see how to create a dual axis map. A dual axis map is a map with two sets of geographic data overlaid on top of one another. For instance, a field map of US regions at the bottom and a symbol map with data points for each state on top. Let's duplicate this field map of US regions and drag latitude to rows. So now we have two maps, one is on top of the other. We are going to change the second map to a symbol map. So select the second latitude on the rows shelf, remove region from the marks card, change the marks tab to circle, quickly drag cells to size, profit to color, and edit color so that is red, blue diverging, and step colors to make sure black is the border and no halo to make the circle stand out more. And from this drop-down menu, choose dual axis. Now we have this dual axis map. It's more like a dual axis chart to compare two measures. Instead, over here, it's just two sets of geographic data. One is overlaid on top of the other. For the first bottom background field map layer, select the latitude and change the color opacity so the background is more washed out. Now we have this finished dual axis map. For this dual axis map, you cannot turn on or off a layer. It's not an option. However, you have separate controls of color and size for each layer. Each layer has a separate marks card. That means you can control each layer's color and size separately. In addition to using Tableau's internal geodatabase server to retrieve location data, you can also connect your map data files directly. Here is a complete list of spatial files supported by Tableau. In its latest version of 2021.4, Tableau expands its map capability extensively. It enables creating layered maps easier than ever before. It allows users to add map layers from multiple spatial data sources without having to join, blend, or use relationships to combine the data. This is super useful when there's no clear relationship between the disparate data sources and the user just wants to overlay the spatial data on the same map. Next, we will see how to use these three files: Boston neighborhoods shapefile, place district shapefile, Boston crime rate Excel file to view Boston crime rate in 2021 in neighborhood and place district. We will see how to connect to shapefile in Tableau. When you download shapefiles from any website or data sources, the shapefile will be downloaded as a zip file. In Tableau, you can connect to that zip file directly, or you can unzip that zip file and connect to the .shp file inside that unzipped file folder. If you unzip this zip file, all the shape files have to stay in the same directory. We can preview this Boston crime rate Excel file. We can see each row is an crime report. It includes like latitude and longitude of the crime and also the police district and other information. So each row is a crime record. We cannot preview the shapefiles, so we'll just see how they look like after they are connected in Tableau. Open Tableau Public. On the Tableau Start page, under Connect pane, click on Spatial File. Click on Boston Neighborhood zip file. Click Open. To add a second data source, you can click on this drop-down menu and go to New Data Source and select Spatial File. Or you can click on this Tableau icon and go back to Tableau Start page and click on Spatial File. And this time, I'm going to go to the unzipped folder, Police District, and select the shape file and just open. You can use this New Data Source button, or you can use this Tableau icon and go back to the Start page. Just do not use this Add button over here, since if you use the Add button over here, you're going to combine the data sources connected. We don't want to do that. We want the connected data sources to remain separately. So click on New Data Source and go to Excel file and locate that Boston crime rate Excel file and click Open. This may take a few seconds to load. After all the three data sources are connected, your data pane, the top part, should look like this. Now let's build our first map layer. Click on Boston Neighborhoods data source. Double click on Geometry, this measure, and drag name to detail. Now we see Boston neighborhood has been plotted on map. Click on Place District data source and drag geometry to the view area and drop it to this Add a Max Layer button. We are creating the second map layer. We can rename it Place District For the first map layer, we can double click on the name and rename it as Boston neighborhood. Click on the Excel file and select both latitude and longitude and drag it to this Add a Marks Layer button and drop it. Now we have the third layer created. We can name it as crime rate. Now we have 3 map layers. This is like having 3 separate sheets stacked on top of each other geographically. In order to focus on this crime rate layer, I want to turn one bottom layer off, say Boston neighborhood. I can turn a layer on and off with this I button. So I will turn Boston neighborhood off and leave police district on. So I can see this one dot for crime rate. I'm going to drag district to detail to separate this one dot. And I'm going to drag district to filters. I'm going to exclude null and external. Just click OK. So Boston crime rate count is kind of the crime record count. I'm going to drag it to size. So the size of this circle is in proportion of the count of crime reports. This is a 3-layered map: Boston neighborhood, police district, and crime rate. At any time, you can turn a layer on or off. You can edit any layer the way you want it. Click on this layer, say drag name to color, and immediately you have this colored neighborhood map. You can turn off police district to see that effects more clearly. You can also change the order of the map layers. Say for Boston neighborhood, I want to drag it on top of police district. Now Boston neighborhood is overlaid on top of police district. And you can turn it off or you can turn it on. And you can change the opacity of a certain layer so you can see the bottom layer better. The last part of the workshop is do-it-yourself activities. I have prepared 3 files, 1 Excel file, 2 shape files. If you look at the handout on page 12, these are the goals for this activity. Your finished viz should look something like this. So the first viz is to view Texas colleges. It's a symbol map. And the second viz is a 3-layered map with Texas colleges and Texas State Park and National Park in Texas all layered together. So that's all for today's workshop. To do a quick recap, we have learned how to create a symbol map, how to create a field map, and how to put them together to create a dual axis map, and how to put them together to create a layered map. Have fun learning Tableau!